Evening, I'm calling to order the Community Service Commission meeting of November 17th, 2020. We are meeting, of course, online because of COVID-19. Anyone who wished to make a general comment needed to submit the comment by email to the city in order to have your email read. So at this point, Grant, Commissioner Voss, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Of course. Everyone, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United
States of America and to the republic
for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to remind the commissioners that we do need to mute our mics when you are not speaking, just so we can avoid any kind of feedback. Caitlin, can we get roll call?
Of course. Commissioner McGill?
Here.
Commissioner Reish?
Here.
Commissioner Smith?
Here.
Commissioner Voss?
Here.
Vice Chairperson Allen? Can you say that again? You got cut off there.
Still cutting off?
Any better?
There you are.
Okay, here.
Okay,
And Chairperson Avery?
I am present.
Thank you.
Okay. We do have a couple presentations tonight. The first one is an Eagle Scout presentation by Jeff Lee of Troop 121. Is he?
He's on. It looks like he is starting his video. Hi, Jeff.
Hello.
Hi, Jeff. Welcome to the meeting.
I'm glad to be here.
We're looking forward to your presentation.
Okay, if I could just share my screen. Is my presentation showing up?
It is.
Okay, perfect. Hello, everybody. My name is Jeff Lee, and I'm an Eagle Scout with Troop 121 in Rancho Santa Margarita, California. I recently completed my Eagle Scout project back this past August here in Mission Viejo in Craycraft Park, at Craycraft Park. It was an honor to be doing this for the city, and I hope that I can share a little information about my project with you. So a quick breakdown of the numbers. The project date that we did this project was on August 8th, 2020. It took 8 hours to do the project from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. We ended up completing 96 feet of lodgepole fencing for the park. We had 41 total volunteers and around 250 total man hours worked on this project. So to begin with, to make a lodgepole fence, one of the things that we have to do is we have to dig a lot of holes. And one of the things that helped us with this project is this tool called an auger. And if you're unfamiliar with the tool, it is essentially a giant power drill that is used to dig holes into the ground, and which was especially helpful for us because the ground on this specific day was quite hard. It was very difficult for a lot of the volunteers to dig in this dirt compared to other softer dirts. So this tool came quite helpful. We almost didn't actually get to use it too, which would have been a shame because as you can see, it is a pretty large and pretty powerful tool. So I didn't feel too comfortable letting my fellow scouts or any untrained person operate this tool. But luckily, we had one person and his adult son who were able to take charge of it because of prior experience. And along the way, we were able to teach other people how to use this auger. But outside of the auger, we still needed to do a lot of digging. For the digging portions, as I was saying earlier, the ground was quite hard Therefore, it was quite difficult to get a lot of people to dig holes. But even still, with the amount of volunteers and with a lot of hard work, we were able to dig the holes that we needed to do in order to plant these posts. And here's another picture of just more digging, because that took up a good majority of the project. Was just simply having everybody dig holes specifically so that we could plant these posts. Now, moving forth, one of the things that that these posts have to be that you have to keep mind of when planting these posts is the precise measurement that you have when planting them, because specifically how the crossbars and each post is placed, they have to be exactly perfect, or else one, the post won't fit, or two, the post will fit very unnaturally and it just will not look nice. So it is very important that each of them are dug at the same exact level, and that each of them is the same exact height when you dig the holes. So that is one important thing to keep in mind. As we can see on the left and on the right pictures, we have people measuring the holes specifically so that when we plant these posts, they will be upright and that they will be in the perfect position each and every time. And here's just another picture of just some of the action, if you would like to, if I would like to call it, here at the scene, where we see my friend Harrison in the front holding the level. As he was showing in the last picture, this level also has a ruler on the side of it, which allows us to measure the holes. The level also comes in handy when making sure that each of these crossbars are exactly perfect and straight. And all around, there were other people working on multiple different areas of the fencing project. In fact, we had we ended up putting two separate fences, one behind the bathrooms area and one off to the side. Now, it was a true test of patience in order to get these crossbars in, because like I was saying before, it has to be done extremely precisely. And also, these bars are not necessarily the lightest and smallest things in the world. So it took multiple people in order to get each of these posts put in perfectly. So it took a lot of patience from every single volunteer who was putting in these posts to make sure that they were, one, straight, two, level, and three, just looked nice overall. So it just took a lot of work from everybody, and I'm grateful for all my volunteers that helped me work this out. Here we have another picture of just us putting in the posts specifically, and how much effort it takes from each individual scout. My fellow scout here, Connor, he was holding down on the post to make sure that it wouldn't move when they were trying to put down other posts, and that is off camera right now. And one of the most challenging posts that we had to put in was this diagonal one right here, because it contradicts exactly what I was saying earlier, how the posts have to be exactly straight, or else it would not function properly. Because of the how it was placed on kind of like a hill area, these posts there was no possible way for them to be level without it being just too awkward, or digging a hole that deep. It just simply wasn't possible. So we had to figure out how to make a diagonal crossbar, which is quite strange, because the holes on the sides of these poles were made for straight crossbars. So it took a lot of ingenuity and creativity and a lot of wood chipping, so to speak, in order to get that specific pole to function properly. And here we have just a couple more pictures of just the different areas of the fence where we would put them. We would test out where the poles would go and put them in position. As you can see, it takes multiple people in order to just practice to see where how it would look like, and it would take a similar amount of people to actually put in the post itself. So it just takes a lot of patience in order to get it exactly perfectly. Now, we would use the cement in order to keep these poles in place, to make sure that they wouldn't get uprooted or dug or shift around or anything like that. So these cement bags it was essentially kind of like a quick dry cement, where we would pour the cement in and pour some water in there, and they would dry relatively quickly. To my surprise, the cement actually dried incredibly quickly, so that we were able to cover up the cement afterwards quite soon after we put the cement in. Now, here are some pictures of the finished fence. You can see here I am talking with a couple of my friends as we are talking over the project and seeing how it went. if you can see on the fence how each and every pole is a level, and how the distance between each crossbar is exactly the same for each pole. That was one thing that we had to make sure that we had completely perfectly. Here we have another view of the fence behind the bathrooms, where you could see just each and every pole had an incredible amount of work placed into it. Now here we have another view of the other fence that is right next to the bathroom, and if you can see, there is the diagonal poles, the diagonal crossbars there that I was just mentioning earlier about how difficult it was to get that. But after this, you can see that the fence looks and works efficiently. And here's just one more picture of the side fence, just from a different angle. Now, I was invited to come to the rededication ceremony for the park, which was truly an honor. And after seeing what the other projects and what the city had done to the park after I had finished, it was just truly a sight to behold. It was kind of funny because my friend Harrison, who's in my troop, he also did a project for Craycraft Park where he was planting many of these plants that you see in this picture here. And from these pictures, you can just see how much has changed since the construction site that was Craycraft Park during my project. In this picture, you can see how the plants and the shade and the planters and the chairs really add to this courtyard feel, as well as the fence, how it naturally blends in and works efficiently, being able to serve as a barrier between the courtyard itself and the parking lot. This is a view of behind the bathrooms, where we have the fence behind the bathrooms here. We also planted plants here for my friend's project, and once again, it serves efficiently and it blends in naturally. And here are just a couple other pictures from just this park. And so that concludes my presentation on my Eagle project at Craycraft Park. I thank you all for listening and listening to me speak about it, and allowing me this opportunity in order to serve the city in this way. It was truly an honor to work with the city on this project, and I want to thank the city for their extreme support for us Eagle Scout candidates, and just for all Eagle Scout candidates in general who are attempting to do their projects. The city has made it such a great process, and such a process that I would recommend to anybody who is applying to be an Eagle Scout. So this concludes my presentation, and thank you for listening.
Thank you, Jeff. I think we're having some mic issues.
My husband would like that, but you know what, Jeff? That was amazing and a lot of work. So you are an Eagle Scout now. You did this to become an Eagle Scout. Sorry, my dogs are attending the meeting. So you are an Eagle Scout now?
Yes, I successfully passed my board review this past October, so I am officially an Eagle Scout.
Congratulations. And we should thank you. You thank the city. That's an amazing fence. And what Craycraft Park has turned into is phenomenal. It is really great. And it needed the work. And I know my friend Bill Craycraft would really be appreciating it if he could see it. Are there any comments from the commissioners? Kathy.
Yeah, yes, I just wanted to say, Jeff, thank you so much. And I loved hearing the word precisely. I mean, because it's so important, and you said that several times on how precisely everything had to be. And the other thing that I loved about your presentation is when you had that new auger piece of equipment, only a couple people knew how to use it. And you also took the time to train other people. And that's what it's all about. When you know something, you need to train somebody else on how to do it. So thank you for those two things, and thank you for cleaning up the park for us.
Thank you.
Commissioner, are you talking? Okay. All right. Commissioner Roche, we can't hear you. Can anyone hear her?
Can you hear me now?
Now, yes, we can hear you now.
Okay, sorry. I just wanted to say congratulations, Chef. That was a really huge undertaking project. I know because I have an Eagle Scout at my house, and it was a lot of work, and that fence was amazing. You did an outstanding job, and you really need to be commended for that. I went to that opening of that park, and it was just beautiful. Congratulations on becoming an Eagle.
Thank you so much.
Any other commissioners? Okay, Jeff, thank you so much, and thank you for coming in and sharing it with us.
Thank you so much for letting me be here. It was it's truly a good experience, and I'm glad I'm here.
And you can watch us again on YouTube. Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you so much.
Okay, and now I understand we have Keith Rattay to give us an update on the golf course operation, vision planning efforts for the open space and golf course.
That's right. I think Caitlin's going to share her screen, and I have a little bit of a PowerPoint presentation to share with you. Are we having any luck, Caitlin?
Hold on, I froze. Sorry. 1 second.
While we were doing the last presentation, I had a text from Pam. She was not seeing the share screen. So let's make sure the screen comes up for her this time.
Okay, can you see this?
I can see that now. I just couldn't see Jeff's. Nothing at all appeared on my screen.
Okay, I have no controls of the meeting now, so please remember to mute your mics when you're done speaking.
Okay, next slide. This is an opportunity for the city staff to just update the Community Services Commission as well as the Planning Commission on what we've accomplished at the golf course and kind of where we're at with the vision plan. As you well know, just a brief history, we bought the golf course just about a year ago. We've been spending about 9 months reinventing and re-imaging the golf course. We've completely rehabbed the parking lot. The clubhouse has been painted in and out, new furniture. We're continuing to rehab things now that we're back into purple. As far as COVID-19, we're actually thinking about going back and doing some additional improvements inside the clubhouse. We've renovated the terrace on the green area. The golf course is an ongoing issue. Those of you that golf know that we've made quite a few improvements, but there's much, much more to be done out there, and a little at a time. We have new golf carts, which is very exciting. We are actually spending some money right now on cleaning up the maintenance building. I'm not sure how many of you are aware, but the city has been asked to vacate the courtyard across the street from City Hall, where we currently are, for a couple of years. The water district is going to rip everything down and build a more water efficient and water treatment plant, and we are going to relocate a part of the facility to the maintenance area of the golf course. So we're rehabbing the building right now as we speak, and then moving people all over City Hall, basically, or all over the city to accommodate the move. The restrooms were redone right at the beginning of the year, and then we've in the process of installing security cameras. We've done a lot of IT upgrades. Like any other facility that's 40 years old, it absolutely cannot accommodate IT-related requests as it stands, and so there's got to be a lot of upgrading. And so we're working on point of sales systems for not only the pro shop, but also, and one of the things that's not on the list here is we just recently, on the 29th, when we had the event there, was sort of the unveiling of the new retail kiosk that we built over the last couple months as well. So next slide, Caitlin. So this is just some pictures. We put in a handicap ramp. There was really no handicap accessible access to the building. Parking lot lights did not work. So albeit it's not a huge, it was exciting for us just to have light out there and just know that it was a more safe environment. So next slide, please. We have also, like I said, the maintenance yard. Literally when we bought it, there was mounds and mounds of tires, old structures. Everything's been removed. The building is in the process of looking completely different, new roof on it, been painted. Everything's been at least slurry sealed and restriped, and some of the areas have had more work than that. And we are even working on getting internet down in the maintenance yard, because there's quite a bit of staff that works at the golf course and they have no access to the internet. So we're working on that as well. Next slide, please. The city has done an extensive amount of work on the inside. These are some very early pictures of just cleaning things, but the facility's been completely rehabbed on the inside, and we're, like I said, we're making some additional improvements. We're working on opening up. When we relocated the pro shop to the outdoors into the new retail space, we're going to turn that area into a conference room or a small banquet facility, so that we can host events without having to shut down other aspects of the facility, which is what they used to do before. We just have literally cleaned the facility from top to bottom numerous times, just taking 30 to 40 years worth of just built up debris. Go ahead, next slide, please, and cleaned up the facility. So, and these are just some pictures of sort of the re-imaged, and we're continuing to do more each and every day. As I said, it's an ongoing process. Next slide, please. The terrace on the green, that was what it looked like before we rehabbed it. For those of you that don't remember. Next slide, please. And now you can see it's got a fresh look on it, much brighter. We have the fire pits. We've got nice umbrellas, places to sit by the green. There's just a lot more activity and a lot of opportunities out there. Next slide, please. We've also cleaned up the restrooms. If you remember, it was very much looked like a Del Taco on the inside, with a lovely tile on the wall. And now, go ahead, next slide, please. It's been sort of neutralized and cleaned up and looks a lot more professional. We did it in a very cost-effective way. The walls, we took the stripe out of the wall, but the wall tile is existing, but all new fixtures, we laminated everything, new flooring, new sinks, new counters. Just made it definitely more updated to today's sort of aesthetic and standards. So go ahead, next slide, please. Kitchen is probably an ongoing process. We have literally deep cleaned. It's been almost, I'll say at least all night, just cleaning twice out there, where it's bringing staff in after hours and working as a team, just cleaning. And we've thrown out old kitchen equipment. We have almost, not everything's brand new in the kitchen, but a lot of it is brand new in the kitchen, and we're continuing to replace, I would say in the next 6 months, just about everything will be brand new in the kitchen. And then next picture, please. So we've been really working hard to make that happen. This was the pump house on the facility, for those of you that are unaware, but what's really exciting about the Oso Creek Golf Course is the water that is used to irrigate the majority of the greens. The fairways comes from the actual Oso Creek. The city actually has water rights to pull water right out of the creek and actually irrigate it. So even when we have droughts, we could water, and we have no water bills on the site other than the water that's for the domestic water for the facility, for the building. And then the greens, the kind of grass that's out there, the greens do better with domestic water. So the greens are all irrigated with domestic water. So, and down the road, we may even go with very much like the lake did, a blended approach where the water is part reclaimed, part regular water. But this pump house was literally falling apart, dilapidated, but the pumps are in there, and there's a pond adjacent to that. You can go to the next picture and you'll see it's been cleaned up and rehabbed, and doesn't even look like the same thing, but it's little by little, it's coming along. We're actually in the process of getting a roof on there in the next couple of weeks as well. So the building floods, or used to flood. We've actually created a berm all around the back of the building, and so now it's in the last rain, it actually did pretty good. It kept the water at bay, and so it didn't go inside the building, which is good news. We cleaned up the outside in a very simple way, but very effective. Rebuilt the doors, new lights, and just made it look a little bit more presentable. So, next slide. Technology, as I mentioned previously, we have run a new cable from the street with AT&T, who's the local provider in that area. We're working on phones. The phones weren't working. We're working on actually getting a whole new phone system out there, but we just are in the process of doing that right now. but there was no Wi-Fi out there. There was nothing. So now there's Wi-Fi out on the terrace. There's in the surrounding areas, in the gallery area, and we're working on. We've launched a brand new website. For those of you that are not aware, if you look under Oso Creek Golf, you will find a brand new website, and it's doing quite well. And we're constantly updating it with all of the improvements. And so it's been a long time coming with some of the information technology stuff, but we are continuing. Again, one of these kinds of facilities, especially with the restaurant, is fairly intensive. Every facility has their uniquenesses and their nuances. This is no different. With point of sales and restaurants and iPads for ordering and just all the various things that go into running a successful restaurant, we're doing our best to try to accommodate and make sure that we have the capabilities electronically to do so. Next slide, please. So this is just kind of the sort of the mess that we inherited, and we're literally going through cables from up above. We're going down to the maintenance yard, and they were literally just sitting on the ground. Just literally sitting on the ground. It was, and nothing worked. It was, and this little dish in the middle photograph on the bottom, that aligned with another dish, and if the wind blew, they came aligned, and then there was no service at all. It was just very archaic. So, but anyway, it's all been cleaned up and it's working much better now. Go ahead, next slide. So as you know, we have brand new golf carts. Those arrived in September. That was a pretty exciting day. Our inventory is up to 70 carts. We used to have 65, of which about 35 worked on a regular basis when we bought the course, and we limped through for a year, and they're a little less than a year, 9 months, and now we have carts. And because of COVID, the use of carts is way up, obviously, because you can only have one person per cart unless you're a related family member, and our cart usage has gone really well. It's really helped us to smooth out the pace of play along the course. And we're just doing a little thing. We have a course marshaling program now. It's a volunteer-based program, and we have about, I think about 6 members now that are volunteers that go out and they're trained on what to look for, and they help to encourage the golfers to follow the rules and drive in the proper areas and do the right thing on the course, because there's a certain amount of protocol that's needed in order to keep the course looking good. So next slide. And then yesterday we announced, today he started, Thomas, we hired a new executive chef. His name is Thomas Ramirez. We went through a pretty exhaustive process. We interviewed about 10 chefs. And with COVID, we really got somebody who's incredibly good. We're very blessed because with COVID, there's a lot of people out there obviously looking for work. And it's a very interesting industry. It's a very transient industry. Chefs don't stay very long, but Thomas comes from the Grove in Anaheim. He was the executive chef there. He was there for 10 years. So he was actually in New York City. He worked in the Oak Room at the Plaza Hotel. He worked at the Ritz-Carlton in New York City. So he's definitely has the credentials to really elevate the level and the quality of the food that we're serving, both in the Birdie Bar, which is the grab and go, as well as in the Terrace on the Green, which is the restaurant that will be opening hopefully in the next 6 weeks or so, at least for breakfast and lunch. That's what we're starting with, and then and appetizers, and we'll get into dinner down the road. But our first thing is to really reinvent the grab and go, because right now we're buying the food from restaurants locally, which is good, but it's very expensive, and it's not sustainable long term. So the whole purpose of this whole effort is, and that's why the tagline on the PowerPoint is transitioning to a more sustainable golf course, and that's really what we're trying to do in all aspects, both financially as well as environmentally, and just making sure that everything we do can be supported by the funds that are coming from the golf course. So next picture, please. So some of the things that are pending, we are continuing slope maintenance. That's an ongoing thing. It's something that we did a lot of, with any project, you have to sort of start from ground zero, rip it all the way back down. It's like renovating a house. You got to pull all the drywall off and get rid of all the asbestos and all that stuff before you can start to rebuild it into the new vision. And so that's what we spent this year doing, pulling all the dead vegetation down. For those of you that are familiar with the open space we bought across the street, ripping down and, pulling all the weeds out and really reducing the fire hazard that was across the street, and just reestablishing the trail. just with the sort of beginning work that we've accomplished, the use on the Oso Creek Trail from that section between Geronimo and Casa del Sol has increased dramatically. We paved the first, I'll say 50 to 60 feet going up and down the hills. That was a little bit steep. And then we graded and gravelled the rest so that it's more rideable. People can ride their bikes on it now, walk their dogs, and it's just the use has gone up substantially. So we're continuing to improve the quality of the course all over. There's just it drains all over the place. I would say 2/3 of the irrigation controllers did not work when we took it over. So now I would say they're all working now, or if not all but one or two, and that's an ongoing issue when you have as many out there as we do. But we just have spent a tremendous amount of effort in just getting the course and the irrigation systems working. And one of the next things we're doing is working on the irrigation ponds. As I mentioned, the facility is irrigated with water, and what happens is basically that Oso Creek runs around Lake Mission Viejo north of the lake. It's piped through the some of the homes developments. That pipe runs through those developments, and then eventually it daylights at the extreme east end, the back 9 of the Oso Creek Golf Course, and daylights again, and then it goes through the Oso Creek Golf Course, and of course it goes through the Oso Creek and the open space and all the way back down south throughout the city. But what happens is the water passes through that pond, which is next to the pumping house, and the pond has not been cleaned out and maintained at all, and so there's limited capacity on what it can hold, and our goal is to try to increase that capacity. So that's one of the things we're working on right now, a first phase to get that accomplished. Hopefully right after the winter rains. We had a huge washout last winter, and that was on the first 9, the lower 9, and we fixed that. That was a huge project that we spent money on, but we had to, and that was right near Atria del Sol. But that was sadly, we were hoping it was. We weren't really sure where our property line was at that point because we were still kind of new, and unfortunately, the property line where the hole stopped was right on the property line, so it all ended up on city property, which is not a bad thing. We would have fixed it a lot sooner than the Atria del Sol folks would have fixed it. So, and then. This leads me to the next section, the visioning plan for the 110 acres that we bought. That's really our next effort that we're out here. Everything I've mentioned is ongoing for the golf course, but that's just one part of the effort. We are working on a visioning plan. We hired MR Pro Fund to begin to develop a master plan or a visioning plan for what this area could incorporate. So next image, please. MR Pro Fund was hired in July of last year. Their job is to, really do data collection. They've been interviewing various users of both the city's facilities as well as surrounding communities, Casa del Sol, Atria del Sol management, the tennis pavilion, the aquatics groups, all the homeowners that live on the course or live across the street from the course. And they're also hired to go out and get that community outreach and input, and then develop sort of a vision plan based on that input, and then to hold public hearings, which that's where the commission will actually start to get involved. Both commissions will on accomplishing those public hearings. Not too dissimilar to some of the things we've done recently with the Bikeway Master Plan, as well as the vision plan for the civic core area. So next slide, please. So this is sort of a time frame of what we've accomplished and what's next. So we've, of course, in the first area, the north, it says City Acquires Golf Course, and that was last year. We started to implement improvements. We had a community naming contest. We had 1,000 people provide some input for the name. So that was our first sort of community engagement. That was all done deliberately to not only redefine the name so that we could re-image it, but also just it was a great way in which to get the community involved with the sort of the process. And so we're in this discovery phase right now, which is basically the listening sessions, which have been happening for the last 2 weeks to various user groups, primarily, and it's just that it's listening. There's a series of questions that the consultant has developed, and then they pose the questions, and then they're literally just listening. They're not really doing a lot of talking. There's no defined design or anything like that at this point. It's really just, hearing what people have to say. And then that information ultimately will get implemented. You'll be able to go and find that information on our golf course website, the Oso Creek, as well as the city's website. Those are the two websites that will hold that information as we develop that information. And then as we move into the winter, which is basically the end of this year and early part of 2021, that's where we'll start to get into more starting to develop actual concepts based on the listening session. We plan to do, and some of this is up in the air depending on COVID, but some pop-up events. I mean, even the kiosk that we had at the event we had on the 29th of October was sort of our first trial run, and we plan to put we're going to talk on this week to see what other information we want to put out there, but our intent is to put some of that information out on the Oso Creek, on the walk around Lake Mission Viejo, which is part of the Oso Creek. That's the whole idea of buying this property, was to connect the Oso Creek and the lake walk and all that, and so that it becomes a more contiguous community asset. But the part of the exploration is really to start looking at what are possibilities in the open space primarily, but not just the open space, but also the golf course as well. The intent is to really focus on hospitality. That's our focus. So, and our new chef Thomas is very much a part of that, as far as figuring out what capacity and what capabilities we could possibly generate. We feel there's a huge demand for banquet facilities, particularly in South Orange County. Most everything is by the coast, and there's not a lot inland, and so we feel like we would do well in something like that. And can we? What kind of a potential do people think? Is that something people are interested in? Are people interested? There's been talk about hotels. Is there people interested in that? There's just a lot of things that have been talked about, but we really are trying to figure out what the community thinks that they would really be interested in, and what the community will bear. Because if you live next to it, you may have one opinion. If you live in the city but not next to it, you may have a different opinion. So we're trying to hear from everybody as much as possible. We will, in the process, also do some online surveys. We're working on figuring out what those survey questions will be and what groups we would go out to, because some of them will be targeted surveys, some of them will be community-wide surveys. And then finally, in the spring, hopefully by then, we'll have gone to commission. We will start to go to commissions at that point, and city council, and start to share the vision plan, and then that's where the public hearings come into play. So, next slide, please. So that just a kind of a more in-depth tells you like what the listening sessions are, what the groups of people are that we've been listening to. Those are the ones that we've started with thus far. There will be other groups. That's the first group of folks, all the HOAs adjoining the property, and then the tennis pavilion, Matadors, YMCA, and the golf course folks. Next slide, please. And then these are some additional outreach, and this is some reiteration of what I just went through on the other chart. Some types of events that we would try to create, pop-up events at various events that we may hold, and this may be something that we may or may not be able to do, or we may have to do in a different way, since there's not a lot of events happening at this point because of COVID-19. So, and then the next slide really is the final slide, and that's just sort of the graphic of our first sort of public outreach kiosk that we're going to develop, that we developed for the event that we hosted at the golf course. And my intent is to produce several of these throughout and continually update them, like I said, in places where people are continuing to walk, ride their bike, so that they can just understand and know that something is happening. So there's not a lot of stuff I can report right now, because the bulk of what they've been doing is really just understanding what we own, what the financial stuff is. One of the things that they have spent a lot of time in, and one of the reasons we hired this particular firm, is that they have a lot of experience in financial analysis and understanding what potentially could be done in this from a financial perspective. And so there's been a lot of time spent on their part just doing that. So while it may not be that we've had a lot of public meetings, we've spent a lot of time behind the scenes providing them information, financials, base information, just trying for them to really understand truly and thoroughly the various aspects of the open space as well as the golf course itself. So, I mean, we know that the golf course will always remain a golf course. That's not anything that the city's ever said we would change. But there may be some other opportunities. For instance, we think we might be able to fit a small driving range in there. We've kind of figured out a way to do that. We think that would be very successful and it would not really impact anybody if it's done correctly. And they are good money makers. And so, again, keeping it a more sustainable environment, a more sustainable course, if there's other ways in which to generate funds. So that's something we're looking at. Like I said, the other is catering and hosting events there at a banquet facility. And there may be other things come up that we haven't even thought about. But that really is all I needed or all I had to communicate this evening, and be happy to answer any questions.
Can I just? Keith, can you hear me?
I can, yes.
Okay, hey, I don't know if they recognize me or not, but you know, I text you every week about how wonderful it is up there. And
Yeah.
I mean it sincerely. All the improvements done are tremendous. And Randy's the marshal now, and all he hears is positive things. So from the people out there. So I just wanted to pass that along to you also.
Thank you.
Yeah. Once again, Keith, you did an incredible job over there. It is my favorite place to go now, and I can't wait to Thomas.
You will really enjoy getting to meet him. One of the things that we took a lot of time is, you see these cooking shows.
Yeah.
And when you see cooking shows, what do you think of about the chef? A lot of times it's the the outburst and just the temperament and all that stuff. He's polite, mellow, but fun. He's a good communicator. We're talking about way more than just cooking with him. I mean, we've got some really good programming ideas. He's done some cooking shows. He's done training. He's done some really kind of fun things that I think we can offer some programs to the community that we've never been able to offer before. So I'm pretty excited.
Really have another restaurant with
absolutely.
Yeah. Mr. Commissioner McGill, I know who you are. Unmute.
Yeah, I had somebody ask me, are all those people now, are they city employees?
There are no city employees. No, everybody is an employee of American Golf.
Oh, so American Golf still runs the facility?
They run the facility, yeah, but they, obviously we have a strong hand in making sure things get done correctly. But the bottom line is they're all city employees. They're all
not city employees.
No, they're not American. They're not city employees. Correct.
Thanks.
Do we have any more commissioner comments? Okay, right, exactly. Kathy's right. It's like this.
Where are we going to put the driving range, Keith?
That's yet to be determined, but there's a couple locations. One that potentially is, I think, a good one is kind of down below the golf course behind. I'm trying to think what hole that is. Might be hole 9. Down by the maintenance yard down there, there's sort of a open space area down in that area, and the hole number 9 can be shrunk up just a little bit, and I think we could fit in there pretty good. So, and I wouldn't be upset in that area because it's not near any house. So,
like between Alicia and the 9th hole.
Yeah, but actually, it would almost be. I don't know if you know where the maintenance yard is down below the clubhouse.
Oh yeah. Oh, down there.
Down there, yeah. So it's really kind of not because typically driving ranges are not the most aesthetic looking thing, and so but if you go down to the ranch and Ben Brown's, they've put a nice small one in there, and I think that would fit perfectly, and they do very well. We've talked to them, and they say even though it was a very small effort, they're surprised at how successful it really has been. So.
Awesome. It's amazing. I can't wait to go there and have dinner.
Yeah.
Great.
Lunch. But I know your plans are something up to block the balls coming up from these.
Yeah, we're actually working on getting a glass wall fence on that whole one side and on the corner, right where the fire pit is there. We're aware that there's a problem.
Yeah, frequently. And it's not, I'm not doing it.
You're cutting in and out. I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. But...
It's not me. That's all, just what I want to
Oh, no. No, I know. Yeah, we were not aware of the problem, but we've seen the problem now. So
Got it. Okay, Keith, thanks again. Thanks for everything.
Oh, my pleasure. All right, take care. You hear more from us as more gets developed. So we'll be back.
I look forward to it.
Care. All right, bye-bye.
Okay, I think we'll move on to the consent calendar. Does anybody have any items they'd like to take out of the consent calendar? Yeah, look pretty easy about that.
I'd like to make the motion to approve the consent calendar.
I second that.
Awesome. All in favor? How do we vote?
Aye.
So we do a roll call vote.
Okay.
Okay. Hold on 1 second, sorry. Okay, Commissioner McGill?
Yes.
Commissioner Reish?
Yes.
Commissioner Voss? I'm
Aye.
sorry, Commissioner Smith?
Yes.
Commissioner Voss?
Aye.
Vice Chairperson Allen?
Yes.
Chairperson Avery?
Yes.
All right, the vote passes unanimously.
Okay, we didn't have a block grant. We were good. Okay. Now I guess we're moving on to our reports, right, Caitlin?
All right. Can everybody hear me? Okay, good. All right, so it's been a while since we met, so got some stuff to update you on, but it's been quieter than our typical years. So I wanted to let you know about a project that we worked on while the library was closed. It's something that we've been wanting to do for years, very difficult project to achieve while the library is open without a lot of disruption to patrons. And so we took advantage of the time when the library is closed. We've done some analysis on our collection usage, and we've known for a long time that our adult fiction and nonfiction collections, the space was kind of allotted in the opposite way of how we wanted. There was more space for nonfiction, which is not as high demand. There was less space for fiction, which is a more popular collection. We wanted to be able to expand that, and our fiction collection was just absolutely maxed out. Staff was spending a lot of extra time having to reorganize shelves to get things back in when they returned, and it's been an ongoing issue. So we did some thorough analysis of the collection. We went through the nonfiction collection really closely and looked at all of the usage statistics, not just the recent usage, but kind of lifetime usage. Looked at whether the information was up to date, those kinds of things, and really cleared a lot of stuff out that was dated or not in good condition, things like that. To pare that collection down to fit in the smaller shelving area. And then we swapped those two collections and some of the smaller ones. So we now have our adult fiction collection starts over near where the DVDs and the reference desk are, and continues through. We've got our fiction audiobooks over there now and the paperbacks, so they're all in the same area together. And then we've moved our nonfiction down to the quiet wing, and the nonfiction audio is also down there. And I'm really happy with the organization. Staff really worked hard to make that happen. And I will tell you, because I did some shifts of moving books myself and used muscles I didn't know I had. It's hard physical work. And so they were troopers, and moving all of those many thousands of books was a big job, but it's great now. Everything looks so clean and organized. All the shelves were cleaned, everything. We really took the opportunity to kind of sanitize the whole area. And we also have our holds now available for self-serve pickup. So those are in the area where the audiobooks used to be. And so now patrons, if they're, if they just want the convenience or they're a little bit nervous about interacting too much with staff, they can still come in, they can pick up their holds, they can use a self-check machine, and they can do that all without having to interact with staff, even though the staff are still there if they want to talk to somebody. So that's been really successful. We, as part of our reopening plans and curbside, we had already enabled people to place holds on shelf items. So our holds uses have gone way up, and that's been great. We're getting a lot more activity through holds, and real happy to see that. So that was just a really nice project to be able to do. It's a big one that's been on my list for a long time, and I was happy to check that off. We're continuing to do virtual programs. We've done lots of, smaller programs, but we had a really wonderful program in September. Writers Present with Edith Eger, who wrote The Gift, and she was a Holocaust survivor, and she's one of the few who was old enough at the time to remember life in the camps. And it was a very moving and very inspirational presentation. We had about 220 people attend virtually. We got just wonderful, wonderful comments back from people who attended. They really appreciated it. Found her just so hopeful and uplifting and inspirational. And she talked a lot about trauma and healing and has continued that work. And I wanted to make sure if you missed it, we do have the video of that, and it was posted on our library Facebook page. So if you go to the library's Facebook page and just search for Edith Eger, you'll get a couple of posts, and one of them has the link to that video. So check that out if you missed it, because it's really, really a wonderful program, very moving. As you know, we've been reopened for sort of browsing and grab and go services. In accordance with state guidelines, we're not doing any seating inside the library, but we have been able to allow people in by appointments. We're using appointments to manage the capacity, because there are capacity limitations for libraries. And actually, now that we're back in the purple tier, those capacity limits dropped. So, but it's nice with the appointments. We're just lowering the number of appointments per hour that we do, and we'll continue to stay open. And so we're open Tuesdays and Thursdays from noon to 8, and Saturdays from noon to 5. And then we're doing curbside on the alternate days. I'm also really excited about the fact that as we're shifting back to fewer appointments, we're expanding curbside. So we will be doing curbside from noon to 5, Tuesday through Saturday, every day. So that's been in really high demand. People love it. And as restrictions are tighter, more and more people will want to use curbside. And we've been finding that those 2 days that we're doing curbside now are just jam-packed, and so this will spread out the demand a little bit more over 5 days. And it will also be, I think, less confusing for patrons. It's just an easier schedule to understand. So that's good news too. Like silver lining to our going back in the purple tier, a small silver lining, but it's there. We have added a couple of new online resources. This is something that we're really excited about. The California State Library has been very generous in purchasing some database subscriptions for all of the public libraries statewide, which is wonderful. It allows us to offer access to some things that would not be in our budget otherwise. But we've got the Job Now and Vet Now resources from a company called Brain Fuse. And those are really good sources for people who are career changing, looking for jobs, building resumes, things like that. And the Vet Now service helps vets sort of navigate the benefit system and claim their earned benefits. That the system is so confusing that a lot of veterans miss out on benefits that they've earned and that are due to them. And so the state library and our Vets Connect at the library grant, we've really been focused a lot on helping vets get connected to everything that they've rightfully earned. So that's an important one. We've also offered a fun one, Creative Bug, which has just a ton of video-based classes for arts and craft projects. all different types of crafts, so sewing, quilting, painting, drawing, cake decorating, all kinds of fun things. And the video quality is really well done, and you can access all of that for free. So that's a nice supplement to our arts programming curriculum, things that we're not able to offer right now because of the pandemic. So we're excited about that. And then we wanted to highlight some work of our teen volunteers. Capitol High School's Honor Society worked with us on some projects to benefit veterans and military personnel. So they did a letter writing project, and the teens wrote letters to veterans that were included in care packages, which is just really wonderful. And they also worked to make paracord survival bracelets to be included in the care packages. So those were great projects. It's a great, it's a struggle right now for teens to find ways to volunteer, but we're always looking for meaningful projects and ways for them to stay involved. And those were two excellent projects. They worked with Kathy Dickey, who's our volunteer coordinator, and Patrice Rand, who's the librarian who runs our Veterans Grant. And that was just a really nice way for the teens to participate. They did a really great job. So the other thing I didn't put it in here, our library lounge outdoor seating. You may have seen the colorful booths and everything that are up outside in the courtyard. And I'll have some pictures for you in the next report next month, or when we meet again, I guess. And that's our arts group really did a nice job of getting artists involved, doing some of the painting themselves. I mean, Kathy was participating in some of that. But it's just so colorful and fun. And we've gotten so many compliments on that space outside the library. And since the library seating is not available inside, Keith's crew helped us create this really welcoming outdoor space, and the Wi-Fi is on when the library is open, so people can sit out there and maintain distance. They've kind of got barriers between the different areas. So that's going to be coming down for Santa's Workshop, but it'll come up again in the next year. So it's not, we're going to get plenty more use out of those wonderful easy apps and all of the color. We've got some ideas for programming in that space when that's feasible again. And anyway, it's just a nice addition. So we'll have some photos of that for the next time, but just wanted to let you know what's going on with that. And I think that's it for my report.
Thank you, Genesis.
Yeah.
Commissioner McGill?
This is my last meeting. I just want to personally thank you. I think you do a fantastic job, and your staff is so creative. I mean, I worked for cities, and we never had a library, at the time I was working there. Mm-hmm. And to see everything that you do, and I love hearing your reports, and I think you all do a fantastic job. So make sure to thank your staff as well. Thank you
so much. I will absolutely pass that along. Thank you.
Any other commissioners like to make a comment? Commissioner Hall.
I would also like to just say thank you. I hope we get to continue working on something in the future. But again, thank you for everything you've done, and
thank you.
It's just always so blown away. Thank you.
Thank you.
Because I am always impressed when I read what you've got going on in the library. It's so cool. And I did love the pictures of how you reorganized.
Yeah.
Okay. I go see it all reorganized. I don't know. It's some weird thing. But it's again.
The scale of that job is not something that you can easily imagine until you really see it.
I did years ago when I was young and had energy. I don't know how you can do it. It was fun.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you all so much.
Okay, so Mr. Nick, we report next.
Good evening, everybody. Just making sure you can hear me okay. Okay, Grant, thank you. Kathy, thank you. Everybody, great. All right. Well, just giving you an update because we haven't really done this since August. As you know, we've opened up with modified hours 4 of our 5 facilities. The Norman P. Murray is still under renovation, so we haven't opened that one up yet. But we're looking good. The flooring throughout the building, the paint, the Sycamore room looks amazing. I think you guys are really going to love it when you get back in there and check it out. As a result of our purple tier, you had heard that our gyms, we had to close. So that's the only thing that has been affected moving backwards into the purple tier, is that the closure of our gyms. But our pools, our courts, everything else that we've been offering, that's still moving forward. But we are looking, I did a walkthrough today with Liddy, and we're going to be working with our public services department to see if we can move some of the equipment outside, so at least we can have some fitness opportunities using equipment. We just need to do it outside to comply with the current guidelines. So we'll keep you posted if that moves forward. Staff throughout the city have been incredible. They've been innovative, creative, and willing to help wherever needed. We have celebrated or created as best we can with programs, including the National Senior Citizens Day drive-through dessert event, Virtual Veterans Day. Pickleball Players Without Partners has been outstanding and well received, and we're pairing people up so they can play. We had our 10th annual Marine Golf Tournament. We did our first ever drive-in movie over at Saddleback College. We completed the 4th annual Scarecrow Contest. We did the drive-through flu clinic. We've done some virtual programming that's on our website, and most recently the virtual guided autobiography class. And we've had some retirements or people moving on. So our last one that we had was Barb Cassidy. After many, many, many years, she decided to retire. So good for her. And then we are losing one more employee. Galen is going to be leaving us. She is going to be going into the private industry with her marketing degree and helping them out. So that's another loss for us. That's our 5th vacancy in the department. We're still accomplishing everything, but it does hurt to have 5 vacancies in the department. So we're slowly bringing back some of our HSTs where we have some holes to fill, and they've been great, and staff all around have just been great and filling in for each other. We've taken on some new roles, including the concierge desk over at City Hall to help manage the flow of people through the front counter spaces and assist the public. We've opened a temporary evacuation point. I mentioned that to you guys over at the Murray Center to help with the fires. We had a few people come in and need to use our services, but it was a great exercise for staff to know we could do it. So we're ready for the next one. Hopefully there isn't one, but if there is, we're ready for it. Our tennis courts and pool use is through the roof, and the return of pickleball, of course, has exploded. And even our aqua aerobics classes are selling out every month and very popular, the way that staff have crisscrossed the lanes so everybody has their own little square there to work out in. We are implementing many donation drives. Many of you have come through them or even volunteered to help at them, where we're collecting food. We've got the American Soldier Network shoe drive that's currently taking place. This past weekend, we did the Marine donations for baby items, and also items that we put into care packages to deployed Marines. And we are currently still running our sponsor senior program, which is going to provide a Thanksgiving meal to our seniors that participate in our Park at Market program. And also we've included some of our other senior meal programs that usually those programs aren't available because of the holiday and stuff. So we're going to send them through there too, and they're going to get a frozen turkey and all the trimmings. Staff continue to be flexible and positive. I mean, if you've been to any of our facilities, it's incredible what they're able to still achieve. And, you know, I personally would want to gouge my eyes out watching the pools lap swimming, but staff has just remained in place and ensuring safety and watching our lap swimmers and cleaning our courts and our facilities and things like that. And they're ready for anything. Anything we've asked them to do, they've jumped in. On Thursday, we are celebrating seniors again with a drive-through holiday dessert. You can drive through and pick one up. And then Friday is that Park at Market where the seniors are getting their turkeys and trimmings and all that stuff. I don't want to go over the activities committee stuff. I'm hoping that one of our representatives from that committee will go through that during their comments on how we're modifying some of the holiday programming. But on top of all this, you can see that we are still providing quite a bit of service to the community, even though this pandemic has hit us pretty hard. So our services are still being offered, our normal programming, the essential programming, especially with our seniors, are still taking place, and we're still very active with providing whatever the community needs. That includes things like our nutrition and transportation programs, our lane and court reservations, cleaning the facilities, and then we're continuing to build diverse and accessible programs, including new is the Rec Division's efforts in focusing on therapeutic recreation. We have really connected with our participants at our facilities this year, and Lydia and her staff have recognized the need for therapeutic recreation, and they've modified our lap reservations and our lanes to accommodate people that need to float, to accommodate people that need to do like therapeutic walking in the pool and things like that. And there's been some really fascinating stories that have come out of this, and where, you know, it really shows that recreation does help the quality of life for individuals. And you'll probably hear some of those stories. I think I'm going to wrap that into our July celebration for Parks and Recreation Month, and bring some of those interesting stories that we've heard out to everybody, and show the impact that we have on the community. You'll notice in my report this month, I've included an additional report, and it highlights statistics on our efforts with Mercy House to address homelessness in Mission Viejo. And I'd like to turn over this to Drew to highlight the report and give you an overview of what we've been doing. So Drew, if you take it away, and then I'll close it out.
All right. Thank you, Mark. Everybody hear me okay? So what's included in Mark's report is a monthly update that we get from Mercy House, and we thought this would be something good to include, just some information for all of you. One of the few good things that's come out of COVID is there's less homeless people out on the street. I don't know if any of you have taken any notice of that, but even in San Clemente where I live, there's noticeably fewer homeless, and that can be attributed to a few things. Not all of them are on this report, but one of the things is, there's more hotels or need people in the room. So I'll talk about some of the things like that at the end of this, but just to sort of walk you through it. Let's see, the first page is that graphic there with the guy with the beard, and then the next page is regional statistics. So Mercy House contracts with almost all the cities in South Orange County for homeless outreach. They don't work with San Clemente anymore. They don't work with Laguna Beach, but almost all the rest, they have outreach workers who work in conjunction with the sheriff's department, the homeless liaison officers, and they're out there getting people housed, basically. So the number in the top right, 42 people exited the streets, permanent housing. That's South County wide. Those are your home runs right there. Those are people who are in apartments. They have funding secured, and odds are very low they're going to be back out on the street anytime soon. So that's really what you want. Let's see. I'm going to scroll down here a little more. We've got the statistics from the point in time count in 2019. That's the homeless census that happens every couple of years, and you can look at all the cities compared. And those numbers. It's basically 1 or 2 days where they have people out on the street counting. So it's just a small snapshot, but state law requires that we do that every couple of years. So we'll be doing it again next year. And the next page is some of the demographics of the homeless people based on age, gender, chronically homeless, non-chronically homeless, disabilities, some of the other things that they track. And then the next page, page 54, this is Mission Viejo specific. So, you'll see 16 people. Now, this is in over a 1-year span. This is May 2019 to September 2020. 16 people exited to permanent housing. So it's not a big number, but it's very hard to get those people into permanent addresses. The number below that, number 38 people who are exited to housing, shelter, something where you know they're off the streets, but it's not something where they've signed a lease and they have long-term funding secured. The one number that I do think is a big success and that you can really kind of set your watch to, that there's not a lot of homeless people on the streets in Mission Viejo, is that number 9 on the right, clients active in the program. So that's the number of people that Detrice, who many of you know, that's how many people she's actively working with right now to try to get housed. It's 9. So years past, that number's, up in the 20s, 30s. I mean, so that sort of gives you the picture that there's just fewer homeless people out there right now, which all in all is a good thing. And like I said, a lot of that can be attributed to the fact that, the more hotel rooms are available. And during COVID, there was a program with the county that opened up different hotels. You probably heard about the Laguna Hill. I think the Laguna Hills, there was one. And while people were there, they were all actively, you heard some bad stories in the news about the people in the hotels that, having big parties and things. But we know for sure at that one, everybody in there was working with a case manager to get them into permanent housing. So when that hotel closed, it wasn't like the situation in Anaheim years ago where people left the riverbed and now all wandered around. Everyone who left there got into somewhere permanent. So that is really the big success that it doesn't really say in this report. The report, all the cities get one very similar to ours, but that to me was one of the big successes without COVID, how they handled homeless people during COVID is they got put into a hotel. And while that was going on, they were able to find them somewhere permanent. And that's really still going on. So there's about 15 different hotels that they work with all over the place. And the idea is get them in there, get them off the street as quick as you can. And then hopefully in a few days, get them somewhere permanent. And the other thing that's not included in that report that's really worth mentioning is the work Therese does to prevent people from becoming homeless. So she'll get phone calls from, you all know Dana, who's been our quality of life officer for a while. There's another guy, Brendan Swain, who's also a quality of life officer. And so, Detrice will get calls from them about different people that they come across. And then really a big part of her job is networking. So they'll call Family Assistance Ministry, South County Outreach, all these other partner agencies. And just this week, there was a family that she was able to secure 3 months rent and a security deposit. I think they might have been living in a van for a couple days or something like that, and then right into an apartment. So it's keeping people from becoming homeless. If they're behind on their rent, she's able to make calls, get money paid so that they don't get evicted. A lot of it is that type of work that keeps people off the streets and keeps those numbers low. So you will hear it from a lot of the deputies. Hey, Detrice is you guys got a good one. Don't let her go. In terms of the outreach workers from Mercy House, we're pretty lucky here in Mission Viejo. So that's really all I wanted to share. But when Mark's done, any questions you have, I'll take them.
Thanks, Drew. Yeah, I wanted Drew to go over that information with you because it's something we really do behind the scenes. We don't do a lot of advocating for it out to the public on what we're doing. And with Drew's help and Leslie, and he mentioned Dana, Detrice, and some other staff with the sheriffs and Mercy House, a lot of stuff is being achieved. And there's some very successful stories that have come out of this and getting individuals off the streets, or like Drew mentioned, preventing people from going onto the streets. And helping them find shelter and the resources that they need. So just wanted to let you know that information and share it with you. So in closing, I'd just like to thank the commission for their support and involvement during this crazy and very different year. We appreciate you always recognizing our efforts and sharing your ideas with us. And I would also like to give a special shout out and thank you to Commissioner Voss and McGill for the 6 years you've spent with me, Drew and Liddy, and the city on this commission. It's been incredible. Your active participation as a commissioner has been invaluable, and we hope you stay engaged in some capacity, volunteer, whatever, show up to meetings if you're bored, come on down, write, send emails in. But thank you all very much, all of the commissioners, for a successful year, considering what we're going through and helping us, being ambassadors for recreation and the library and the city, really. So thank you very much. Thank you.
I second that. Thank you all so much. Yeah.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Drew. Do any commissioners have any comments for Mark or Drew? Nope, 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 nope. Drew, you're off the hook.
I want to say thank you. Mark, Drew, Liddy, Caitlin, thank you for everything.
Okay, I guess we are moving on to, now we have new business, the ad hoc review of contract class guidelines.
Yes.
Okay, and that was committee.
Yeah.
Go
So
ahead.
I can give the report on that. So the ad hoc committee was formed way back in February, if you recall, before the world ended. And it was necessitated because
Overview, or do you guys just want to accept, receive, and file? Oh, there she is.
Wait, back.
Oh, did you lose me?
We lost you.
Okay. All right. So I don't know where you lost me, but I'll just start over. Go back to the top. So we did this ad hoc committee to evaluate our contract practices in light of the AB5 legislation that was passed last year. Raised a lot of questions. We had to make sure that we were following the law in terms of classifying workers as contractors. And it affects recreation and library the most because we do a lot of contract work with instructors, things like that. And so we needed to make sure that we were being consistent across our departments with how we were approaching that, and also meeting the requirements of the law. And Dennis had asked us to talk to the commission and do an ad hoc committee. So we formed the ad hoc committee, and then COVID happened, and so we sort of that fell off the radar for a while. But in the meantime, some additional legislation was passed, AB 2257, which clarified some of the things, created exceptions for some of the areas that we had concerns about. So that kind of resolved some of the issues that we have, which is nice. It's always nice when that happens. But we were able to sit down with Commissioners Allen and Smith and myself and Barbara Swanson to kind of talk through our current practices, how we've adapted to the legislation, and make sure that we're being consistent. And so I've listed here what the requirements are. The ABC test is, the person has to be free from the control and direction of the hiring entity in connection with the performance of the work. We don't give them performance evaluations, things like that. We can choose to not contract with them again if they don't satisfy the terms of the contract, but they are determining how the work is done that we're hiring them for. They perform work that is outside the usual course of our business, and they are customarily engaged in an independently established trade, occupation, or business, meaning, working for the city is not the only thing that they do. So as we had gone through our things, both departments had identified some potential overlaps in item number 2, where we had maybe a staff person teaching a class or things like that. And so by the time the ad hoc committee had met, we had already dealt with those issues and kind of clarified those lines, but that was something that we felt needed to be really strict about and follow, so that our fee-based classes are offered by professional contractors, and then the amateur level non-professional programs can be offered by staff. And then the other thing that we wanted to look at was our policy with regards to cancellations of classes and how that's done and making sure that we're consistent. So we, rather than coming up with a particular number or percentage, because that would be determined primarily by the cost of the class and various other factors, the size of the room that's available. We felt that we just needed to look at 2 criteria. Does the number of registrants ensure that the city's cost recovery policy is met? And does the number of registrants ensure that the instructor is paid at least the equivalent of minimum wage? And that was on the advice of our human resources and risk management, that we needed to make sure that the minimum wage standard is met. So those are the criteria that we've agreed on for cancellations. We're being consistent across both departments. And so we felt like, okay, this is what we're doing. There's no further action needed at this time. But as further legislation might get passed, or other things that may be adjusted going forward, then we can revisit. But as of now, the way that the law stands, the committee felt that no further action was necessary to change the way that we're doing our contracts.
Okay.
Any questions?
Thank Commissioner Smith and Alan for sitting on the ad hoc committee for this. Thank you guys. That was great. And thank you, Genesis. All right. We have commissioner comments. Let's start with Commissioner McGill.
Yeah, I just want to thank everybody. Oh, look at we got a visitor here. Yeah, she just ran away. But first of all, I just want to compliment the department. There are so many things I learned about the facilities and programs, and I gained a new appreciation for everything you do. There's such a wide scope of programs that the city does, and I can honestly say I'm very proud of our department. I'm very pleased to have been able to take part in it. There is one thing that I won't miss, and that's every 6 months forgetting to set my password again. So I got very, very familiar with the IT department. We're on a first name basis, and I won't miss that. And Caitlin, appreciate your putting up with me calling every 6 months and saying that there was something wrong with my computer when all it was I didn't reset my password. Also want to recognize Commissioner Voss, because we both started on the same day, and want to thank him for his participation. Been a great addition to the commission, and wish you luck in the future. I know you're going to be successful. And finally, just want to thank the City Council for giving me the opportunity to participate on the commission. I've enjoyed it. I wouldn't leave unless they kicked me off, so they kicked me off, and Grant too. So it isn't just me. And just thank each and every one of you so much. Thank you.
Thanks, Gary. Commissioner Roosh. You know what? I can never say your last name right, Debbie. I don't know what is wrong with me. Unmute yourself. You're muted. Debbie, you're muted. Okay, Debbie, you're muted. I thought it was your sign language. Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's should be Roosh, but they pronounce it Reesh. Anyway, I just want to say thank you to Gary and Grant. I'm going to miss you guys. It was great serving with you. Grant, I know you're going to be really successful in your career. I'm excited for you. Even though we've been in lockdown I have a lot of things I participated in since we've been together. I went to the drive-in movie, which was sold out. Coco, it was a great event. I watched the Writers Presents of Edith Edgar for The Gift, and I thought she was really insightful and interesting, and I downloaded her book. I stopped by the virtual Veterans Day ceremony. I thought they did an outstanding job this year. It was really moving and very well done. I stopped by Norman P. Murray for the Marine Food Drive. There's a lot of enthusiastic Marines there. It's always great to see them. I attended the renaming of the Oso Creek Golf Course, which I wanted to commend Keith and his team. I mean, it's just gorgeous. Can't wait to golf there and especially go to the restaurant with the new chef. It's going to be a really great new place for us all to hang out. Let's see. I hope everybody enjoys the holidays with their loved ones and stay safe. Try and get out in nature as much as you can. That's the best thing. And we have so many great places, the lake, the ocean's close by. We have all those trails. And I want to quote Grant by saying, parks make life better. And I want to close by saying, I love our town.
Thank you, Commissioner Reish. Commissioner Smith.
Okay, first of all, I would like to say thank you to all my fellow commissioners for serving together on this last 2 years, but especially to Gary and Grant. They were kind of my mentors before coming vice chair and chair. Grant, I've known you through MVAC for a few years and you are going to be successful. Gary, I will see you on the golf course as usual. So we will miss you guys. You did tremendous work for us and you were wonderful examples of how commissioners should be. So, but also to my other fellow commissioners, it's been an honor to serve with you guys. Hopefully we'll get all reappointed next time, but it's been wonderful working with everybody. And that being said, I'd like to applaud Genesis and her staff and also the rec staff, because in these times, you guys did remarkable stuff, keeping our citizens engaged and coming up. You all were so creative with everything. And I've heard nothing but positive comments from everybody. Genesis, I know I passed those on to you with the pickup thing and everything. So it just really says a lot about our whole staff and what they do for our city. So I'm really proud of you guys and everything that you have done. I saw Barbara Cassidy before she retired. I've known her since, I don't even want to tell you how many years ago at Montenoso. So I've known her all these years, and she was ready to go and time to spend with her grandbabies. So we will miss her. I also would like to just say, just applaud Amanda Bassett for this pickleball thing, of what she has done with it. And the numbers just show that, just the increase in the numbers of people that are playing now with this new program that she started. And Mark, you asked me, Kathy, if you don't mind, you want me to mention about the Christmas stuff? Is that okay, or is that okay with you? Okay, because of the weird season, MVAC obviously is not doing what we have normally done in years past. One being the boutique, which will not happen this year for obvious reasons. We didn't want the holiday season to go unnoticed for our community. So what we are doing, we're still having the lighting contest, which we've done in years past, but we will not be having the Holly Jolly Light Tour for obvious reasons again. But what we will do is we have the contest and the winners will be posted not only on our website, but they will also be on, I think, sheets that we'll give to the centers that they can be passed out physically, that will show the winners. So they will have a map, a route, and individuals can go and enjoy these things on their own with their family. So that will still be a big part of our community. And for our Santa thing this year, Kathy came up with this wonderful idea of stop, wave, and go. So it's going to be kind of a drive-through Santa. So it is going to be at the Civic Center, in front of the workshop. It's going to be every Saturday and Sunday night, starting the Sunday night after Thanksgiving. And what they'll do is the cars will come in, they'll be able to drop off letters via an elf standing there, letters for the Santa mailbox. They will drive through, Miss Santa and Mrs. will be seated there. They will engage with the carload of people. Hello, Merry Christmas, whatever. They'll wave as they turn around and start to exit. They'll be handed candy canes, wrapped and everything, you know, perfectly good that way. So that's kind of what we wanted to do. Of course, that all could change. We don't know with the way things are going, but that's what the plan is now, so people can still enjoy some festivities. So I want to thank you, commissioners, all again. Genesis, Mark, Liddy, all staff, you guys are wonderful.
Thank you. Okay, Commissioner Voss.
I've spent over 20 years of my life on Earth in service to the city I love. I was a Mission Viejo Community Service Commissioner for the maximum term limit of 6 years, and it has truly been an honor and a privilege. My accomplishments as commissioner include when I worked on the much-needed update to the Marguerite Aquatic Center, assisted in developing an arts and cultural master plan, and voted to disperse funds on an annual basis to various nonprofits. I also had the honor of sharing an idea with the wonderful staff to create a mural featuring a depiction of prehistoric underwater Mission Viejo. Our spectacular staff here went above and beyond and formed a partnership with Saddleback College to establish a class in which students worked together to make the mural. The course allowed students the opportunity to access a curriculum which touched on ceramics, paleontology, geology, and engineering. I look forward to the mural, to the installation of the mural and sharing a piece of history with our citizens and visitors alike. What I'm most proud of is co-founding the Mission Viejo Film Festival, which showcased local filmmakers and simultaneously raised thousands of dollars for City of Hope Cancer Research Center over its 3 years of existence. The film festival has touched many lives in more ways than one, an opportunity for which I am truly proud of, but also truly grateful for. I was chairperson of this commission in the year 2017 and the recipient of the Outstanding Commissioner of the Year Award in 2017. The award was presented to me by the California Association of Parks and Recreation Commissioners and Board Members at the California Parks and Recreation Society Annual Conference in 2018. It was truly an honor, one I will never forget, along with the honor to serve with the staff at Mission Viejo. In my final months as a commissioner, I started to lay the foundation for what I hope will evolve into a diversity inclusion task force. I anticipate this will bring to our city into new and worthwhile future endeavors. Lastly, I would like to thank all my fellow commissioners for whom I served alongside the past 6 years, as well as our excellent staff members. Serving on the Mission Viejo Community Service Commission has been wonderful and an experience I truly count myself blessed to have had the opportunity to serve. In closing, perhaps for the last time as a commissioner, but not the last as a private citizen, I want to say parks make life better.
Thank you. Okay. Vice Chairperson Allen.
Okay, can everybody hear me? It's very sad to come at this last time because I can't really say anything. You guys have said everything. So yes, I attended many of those same things, feel the same way about all the commissioners and all the staff. Love that they're taking the opportunity to renew and revamp things while things are closed down so that they're ready when they open to our residents to enjoy. So that's great that they're using that opportunity. Gary and Grant, we are going to miss you. Perhaps we could go down and have appetizers with the new chef. We can find a time and we can all go down there so we can have a proper goodbye. Not hugging or anything, but waving closely. I miss seeing you guys all in person. And Drew, we're looking forward to coming for pie. Mother can't wait to come out. So thank you for having that. Okay, thank you.
Okay, I know for a fact that Commissioners McGill and Voss received an envelope today. Very good, you follow directions, it's there. You may proceed to open your envelope. In it, what you're gonna see, well, so everybody can see, it's a certificate of appreciation presented to each one of you for your time and dedication to the Community Service Commission and the years you served. This
Thank you.
happens to be Commissioner Voss's. You guys this has been an incredible year because it's been unlike anything that any of us have ever lived through. We've had to adapt in so many ways. We've adapted with each other, we've adapted with the city. But what I find really incredible is that the city adapted so well. The city took on the responsibility of keeping our people safe, and we're not afraid to have people scream on on uh, websites and stuff that they want to have access to the parks and they want to have access to the library because they knew what had to be done, and we did it. We still had events. We still had social time for our community. We still did what brings people together. And McGill and Boss, you guys, you guys were such an inspiration on the commission. I'm gonna miss you so much. I know we all will. So this has been a great experience for me. I loved it. I wish I didn't do it during the COVID pandemic. I feel like I'm the COVID commissioner, right? I wish you all well. I know I'll see some of you again soon. Grant, I'm going to watch you. I know that we're going to see a lot of stuff from you. And one day I know you'll be mayor. I have no doubt. Right? And I'll vote for you if I'm still here, breathing. Okay. Mark, Liddy, Genesis, Drew, Caitlin. I don't know what to say. It's been a joy. So everybody have great holidays. Love your families from a distance. And Merry Christmas. That's all I've got. Signing off from Commissioner Avery. Meeting adjourned.